You know who that is, right? You know who I am? But if you don't know, who are we?
We're Life, Lust, and Lifestyle with Flea and Cece.
Now you know, right? So again,
We
we're
look
out
my
and
booty
about.
popping out.
They probably
Put
want
my
your
dress
booty to
up.
pop out. It might be like Janet Jackson around
Could
here.
be.
You know what I'm saying? We just watched the documentary.
That was a great documentary.
Wasn't it though? So
Mhm.
plug to Janet Jackson. Right? But anyway, we're gonna plug because we're gonna talk about consent today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Consent, and I want to talk about consent in more ways than one, not just in can I have sex with you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about a lot of consensual situations that and give some examples.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So now we're gonna get into that, right? So of course everybody knows that in order for you to have a play partner, you need consent, right?
From your
What would be the definition of consent? Let's start off with that.
permission.
Permission?
Mhm.
Permission to do.
Green
right?
light.
Green light, permission to do.
Mhm.
So in our case, we're a couple. So your first consent or my first consent is whom?
Your first consent is whom?
Yes. She don't understand ebonics, but anyway. We must talk to each other first to get consent to do what? To be able to pursue,
okay.
right?
Yeah. With me.
Right. So we have to ask for permission to be able to pursue others or anybody else, correct? So we just got to do what we do. We have to ask of each other, can we pursue this person, or that couple?
Okay. That's some people's dynamic or boundaries, right?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
For us,
Yeah.
the first consent level is us consenting to what one of us want to do.
Right.
So I'm basically asking permission if I want to shoot my shot with such and such.
And I say, okay, I consent.
It'd be more like pineapples, but yeah. Okay,
Okay.
because pineapples
Is our word.
It is our word. It was our word before we even knew that it was
Mhm.
relaying, to swinging.
Right.
Right. Then the next consent is the person that we are talking to and or their partner.
Mhm.
Right. So it could be, I know I've asked you, we've been on the balcony like this before, drinking or whatever, and you were on that side, I was over here, and I'm talking to a young lady, and her knee was showing, right?
Yes.
And I've asked, baby, do you mind if I touch her knee? And you like, what would be your answer?
Only if it's okay with her.
There you go, right? And then I asked the young lady, and she was like, sure, if your wife says so, and then I
Yes.
touched
So
her
you
knee.
see, it's like that was like a triangle consent, right? It's like first I need your consent, then I need her consent, right?
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me too of a time where we're at a party and different couples and thruples have different dynamics, right? So a lot of times people don't see us together. We're doing other things, talking to other people, different circles.
We come into the party together.
Yes.
People know that
We're
came
together,
but we have the freedom to explore and get around to find our tribe, our people that
to
we want to connect.
our connections,
Our
right?
connections, yeah.
So one time, conversation came up to play. She ready to go, and Flea's like, "Well, let's go talk to your partner." And she's like, "Why?" And Flea was like, "Cause that's how we do things around here, right? You know, we want to make sure everything's on the up and up. We want no misunderstandings, and that's really about the consent. Is that we don't want no misunderstandings,
Right.
Because at the end of the day, no means no.
Right. But the thing about it was I asked of her dynamic. She wasn't here by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted to play, and then I asked her where her partner at, and that's when she said, why? I said, because I need to let him know that I want to play with you, right? I had already called you over. Is this the same scenario?
Mm-hmm.
I had called you over to get your consent,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't need consent from her man. But I needed consent for him just out of respect.
Right. And that's just what we do. That's our protocol. We
Right.
just want, again, you do want to alleviate as many problems as possible. Now, she could have assumed it was no, and then he could have went and talked to the partner and he'd been like, we didn't talk about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
because it gives people options to say yes or no.
it does. It does.
And that's what you want to leave, those options.
I mean, even if the vibe is vibing and there's some, touchy feely going on, to take it to the next level, just because a person is allowing you to touch them or be in their space does not give you consent, right?
Correct.
They may be okay and comfortable with that. But if you're going to take it to another level, I think it's disrespectful not to get consent to move to the next level. Like to assume.
Right. Because
that's where you're gonna get yourself in trouble is if you assume that it's okay.
Right. Because once I touched the young lady's knee, right, she was shoulderless like you. And I'm this type of guy. I like to touch, but I didn't touch. But it was very attractive. So guess what I did again? Baby, you mind if I touch her shoulder? I want to kiss her shoulder. It's so soft. And then what you say?
He's on one tonight. No. No, it just really depends. Again, for me, it's whatever makes a woman comfortable, right?
And that's what you said back to her. She said, if she's comfortable with it, then I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? And then I leaned in and just gave her a soft kiss on this.
But in this case, is a baby. Everybody's hearing. It's not like a discreet, babe, let me come talk to you. Is it okay?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not trying to mess the flow up and get up and go over there and talk and come back over here and get. I'm already in the position.
That's him. That's not what you always want to do. You don't want to make it a public display.
No, you don't. But we were all vibing, and it was a small group of us when that happened.
Okay, well, yeah.
In that situation.
There's been but I'm saying
situations.
In general, you don't want to make it a public spectacle of I'm trying to get in the draws. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Because then you make the other person feel uncomfortable at some point. Right. But, you know what I'm saying?
But it was that vibe that night. Knowing the room, it was okay. It was a little comical, but it was cute at the same time. Because the other people were like, oh, that's so cute. Again, I'm that personality guy. You're gonna fall in love with my personality and my comical relief. Then you are falling in love with all this wonderful goody. Right. But going back to the other scenario, was he was cool with it, right? With the young lady that didn't. We didn't talk anymore about it. She never spoke about, oh, I don't have to or whatever. It just was. But she saw it as a mutual respect. And I think that men and women as well, but everybody should have that mutual respect. Let me check with my partner.
I just say get in the habit of it.
Let me tell my partner. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're going to be in this room or we're going to be over there. It's a safety thing.
Some people are like, oh, my partner doesn't care. Well, they might not care because they don't want you to care about what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you? I'm going to do me.
Right.
And
some people have that, but I still will seek that and find that person. Now, if they were single, and because I already found out what her dynamic was, that's why I knew that she was partnered. If she was single and she didn't have to tell nobody, I'm telling you.
Right.
And I'm telling you that she's single.
And it makes it a better experience when you do get the consent. Because even if it's like, you want to lean over like, ooh, I love your lips. Can I kiss it? Right?
That gets me going.
So you get the smile.
Yeah. Let me sip on my drink here.
But then some people might be like, I just don't kiss. You wouldn't know if you would have just leaned right in and they don't kiss, then that might be a big turnoff and you done lost your shot.
Yeah. You definitely ask for consent on everything leading up to the point of now the clothes are coming off. At that point, we already know what's about. And still ask what you like, what you don't like, what's okay.
What's off limits?
Exactly.
That's the main thing. What's off limits?
Yes.
I mean, the likes is a good conversation, but the off limits is a more important conversation because you don't want to engage in anything that is going to completely turn them off.
Right.
Or offend their partner.
Right. Because some parts of the body are just for the partner, from what I've been told.
Right. And trust me, if you are playing without the consent card, you probably will never get another shot. You know what I'm saying? Especially if there's another partner involved.
Right.
because I mean, I've seen conversation in other groups where a boundary was set.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one I read the other day.
Okay.
Boundary was set between two couples.
All right.
It was for the women to play only, engage only, and that they would go back to their husbands for the rest, right? And as they're engaging, the woman's getting done by the other woman, as they had already discussed.
Giving her head. So we
giving her head.
Giving her.
And so she's giving her husband head at the same time. But now the other husband is out, right? But somehow the wife and the husband end up switching places. The man is now between the legs. And now the woman is panicking. The one on her back is panicking because the boundary was only the women play.
Right.
So now she's stopping the activity because she's trying to stop an argument
between her and her husband.
Or any type of tension between the husbands, period.
Correct. Or the husbands, yeah.
But her question was, is it wrong to say that she don't want to play with them no more because of that? The boundary being broken. He did not have the consent to give the wife head. They were in the moment. They were going with the flow. And although the boundaries were discussed, they were broken.
Gotcha.
Right? And so I've seen the comments in this discussion, and a lot of the people were like, oh, hell no, they gone, da-da-da. They like X them out, right? And I just feel like it just opens up more communication. You know what I'm saying? It was wrong. That, you know, we had already talked about that or whatever. It kind of brings now there's like the feeling is gone because now you're like all in your head about what just happened. The woman.
Yeah, because
we don't even know what the husband's thinking.
Or because she's wondering, have anybody else been in that situation? You know, when boundaries are broken, it does suddenly end, and you can't trust.
It is a bad taste.
You can't trust the other person's. You know, it could have been as easy as asking. I know we have this boundary, but man, I would love to help please your wife. Is that okay? You know what I'm saying? And if I say it's okay, then you go about doing it. But if I don't, hey, we said the boundary was going to be the women play, and he would have bagged out and said, you're right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's about communicating. You can't let lust take over the situation when you're not with people that you with all the time. You know what I'm saying? So in that case, or
even if it was not all the time.
Well, I'm just saying, when you with partners, you get to know what's on and what's off. But if that's your first time and you guys drew the line saying we're gonna let the ladies play and we're gonna watch and we're gonna interact with our woman only, then that's how it should have been.
Now, if it wasn't discussed ahead of time, then it's kind of a gray area, right? Because it wasn't discussed.
But apparently it was, because the scenario was that the women were gonna play and the men were going to finish.
Well, I'm going to say your boundaries, what they are right up front. I don't care if it's with a couple or a single person or solo, whatever the case is, you need to speak up your boundaries, right? Because like, I'm putting it out there. I don't like hands around my neck. I don't like to be choked. I don't even like the act of being choked. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't put that out there, not thinking about it, and someone does it, now I'm going to react a certain way, right? But I never said that they couldn't do it. Right. I just thought it. I never expressed it. So no, you don't have consent to put your hands on my throat. You know, I need to make that boundary up front. But I don't know. That's kind of a gray area as well of, ooh, can I go ahead? Are you into this? You know what I'm saying? That's where the pregame comes, where you kind of get to know what are the boundaries. You have to ask.
Yes. Because everybody has a different style of sex.
Because we don't always talk about that.
No, we don't. We just get into the act of, right? I didn't know I like to be choked. I'm the opposite, right? So I had a situation where I had a woman choking me out. And I'm like, oh, you going to choke me out? It was a different feeling, right? I wasn't threatened by her choking me. It was just the sensation of her choking, right? And she was on top of me. So if a hand slips there, it'd be your job, if you haven't talked about it, to smoothly move it away
and
say, no, I don't like that. and just keep it going from
Yeah.
there. You ain't got to say, stop, time out, you touched my neck. Right? Be smooth about it.
Mm-hmm.
And mention it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody touch you in an area that you don't like, it might got away with it once because they did it, and then you're like, hey, I don't like that.
Right.
So it is about communicating.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the communication.
Okay.
So social media.
Right.
Right. Consent to DM. Right.
Mm-hmm.
As innocent as it seems, some people just don't like to be spammed in their inbox. Right. They would like if you would have permission, especially if you're a couple. I feel that it's respectful that I'm not just in a husband's inbox without really asking, is it okay? Do you think your wife would mind? Or even asking the wife,
Right.
you know, can I reach out to your man?
Now, are you saying reach out to them publicly and ask, is it okay to be in a DM, or go into their DM and ask, is it okay to be in your DM?
Either or.
Okay.
The question of consent is there.
Right. So I'm on social media a lot. So a lot of times on our couple page, we get hit up from the men.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't after me. They after you.
Okay.
But they don't acknowledge the both of us. They just speak, hey, how you doing?
They don't know who they talking to.
They don't know who they talking to. And sometimes I be you. I'm good because I already know what their mission is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't mention me by name, oh, I think you're cute. How is Flea doing? Then I'm like, yo, by the way, this is Flea. Oh, okay. Yeah, man, I was trying to, you know what I'm saying? So you have to acknowledge, if you're hitting the couples page, acknowledge both.
Mm-hmm.
My name is John. I think that you guys are a wonderful couple.
Yeah.
I think Cece is very beautiful. What's y'all dynamic? Mm-hmm. Right? That's the easiest thing you can do as a single man coming into a couples group. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the woman. If the woman thinks the husband is nice and they go into a couples page, hey, my name is Monica.
Some people have it down pat. Some people know the questions to ask to get
but I'm giving them the simple conversation of how this can go down, mm-hmm. and is not offensive to the couple.
Right.
Acknowledging each other.
Mm-hmm.
You're a beautiful couple.
Mm-hmm.
Your husband's very handsome. What is y'all dynamic? Mm-hmm. Because now that's letting us know what your intent is. Mm-hmm. If you say, hey, y'all a beautiful couple and I'm a unicorn, are y'all into unicorns? Mm-hmm. Now we know that it's for the both of us.
Now I do want to say, as a couple, even though you might be having that one-on-one conversation and you're just like, and if Flea does this all the time, Cece giving me her consent. Right? But I'm not there. I'm not in the conversation, but even though I had, because he wouldn't say it if I hadn't, right?
I wouldn't say it if I had.
Sometimes I have to validate.
Yeah, you step in.
Because so many people are dishonest.
Especially us men.
So many people are dishonest.
Especially us men. I'm going to say it again. Especially us men. We're dishonest, right?
Yeah, wife don't know nothing.
Right.
Really.
Nothing.
But sometimes I will play that role of validation. Mm-hmm. Oh, come in the scene. Oh, you guys got a play date set up yet? What's up? Right, yeah. Just to let them know, I want to meet you. Hey, if you guys plan this opportunity, just want you to know that I am okay with it.
Yeah.
The consent is coming from the partner.
That's not in the play.
Right.
Yes.
So that way you alleviate drama, you alleviate, mixed feelings, and
we've done FaceTime, we've done Messenger
groups. Ooh, my boobies.
I think the bugs like them boobies.
No, they just
anyway.
They're not showing. They just
kind of
flopping out of my dress.
They can flop out. Ain't no big deal. They have consent. Y'all can come out. All right. But no, it is your validation, especially from a man's perspective, when the wife is okay with it and mentions it from her profile, mm-hmm. or saying that this is Cece. Hey, hit me up. This is my phone number. Mm-hmm. Because we don't play.
I think it's important for both sexes to really pay attention to the consent. Mm-hmm. I think women probably draw more conclusions than men.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So we definitely.
Well, we draw conclusions when it's a man coming after you. But when it's a woman, yeah, we don't.
Who's we?
As men, don't draw no conclusion when it's a woman. But when it's a man, we kind of stand up like, okay,
But women do.
yeah, women definitely do.
I would say 100% of the time.
Right, but
You know,
women haven't been the most aggressive, at least in our box, right? In some cases, there might be some women that have been aggressive in other men boxes they're attracted to, but it's also the feedback that they get from the men, as though they might be single. You know what I'm saying? Type of vibe, right? Anytime I inbox anybody or inbox me and my wife, Cece, you know what I'm saying? And then blah 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 blah. It's always the acknowledgement that one, I'm married and it's you, and we make those decisions together, right?
Now I have tailored back a lot. I mean, consent is 100% how we roll, right? But let's just say I've established a trust with you and a friend. I've established a trust. Now, do you have to call me every single time you have a conversation with that person? No, because I've established that trust. I know where that relationship stands, and I'm not worried.
Right.
You know, now if it's somebody who seems a little needy, constantly wants attention, you know, things like that, I may not give my consent may not be as open. I might not be like, you know, no.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just talked to her last night. No. There goes that veto.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to say that's where the veto comes in, right?
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, but you gotta ask up until that point where she or he feels comfortable.
Right.
You know, and where it's not as, you know, now you could overkill and keep asking, but you know, it's kind of like a feeling.
Yeah, I give you 1 or 2 times, and I get it from there. You know what I'm saying? If it's no twice in a row, I let that go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if it's no the first time, second time, yeah, you know what? But again, it's the acknowledgement, getting the consent to do, reaching out to you. You know, I always tell the ladies.
I love
to reach
when the ladies say, "Does Cece know?" I love that. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel acknowledged.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel acknowledged, and then I feel on the same page. You know, as opposed to you just telling them and then being like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Most of the young ladies that I talk to acknowledge you in some form or fashion. Right. Either they want to talk to you immediately, or they acknowledge the fact how she's doing, how you doing. Tell her I said hello, give her a hug, give her a kiss, tell her to hit me up. And just you know, that respect.
Let's talk about the flip side of consent.
Okay.
Right? If you're not getting that consent, you could feel violated. You know, I mean, you can appear to be creepy.
Okay. You're talking about for the other person, or are you talking about me and you and I'm creepy?
No, I'm talking about
the other person,
or whoever. If you're just taking action and not really asking for consent, or even like a couple is playing and you just walk up to them and you just start engaging with them without asking them, can I enter? Can I get in? You know what I'm saying? You know, it can maybe cause a fight. You know what I'm saying? Because
I can bring up a situation where that came about, not in the sexual sense, but it was sexual. Right? We were here, you were leaving. We just had a meet and greet that weekend, hanging out at the house. You left to the airport. It was late at night. I'm talking to you on the phone. I get a phone call from Messenger, and it was from a young lady who was
who missed the event,
who was seeking me, right, and just told me straight up that she wanted to fuck right then and there. And I'm like, well, it don't work that way. You know, my wife just left to go to the airport, and she was like,
that was my red flag.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, that's even better. I was like, no, it ain't better. We don't work like that. I don't do that behind my wife's back. And that was the red flag from the get-go, right? I was flattered because it doesn't happen that often that a woman just comes out and say that. So I said, well, baby, give it a chance. Because again, it don't happen that often that the man
Yeah, he was
get it
flattered for
thrown. I
sure.
was flattered.
Hmm.
But in the long run, it didn't work out. She didn't know protocol. She didn't respect protocol. She didn't. So we had to cut her, let her go, right? Because that wasn't gonna be the argument with me and you. A piece of butt ain't gonna get between me and you.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So there was no consent, and she didn't even make it a point to say, "Oh, I understand.
Hmm.
Cece's gone. That's how
Hmm.
y'all work." You're like, "Oh, well, you just missing
I
out."
mean, I've even made it a point. A married man,
Okay,
right? Hit me up in my DM asking if I wanted to come over and hang out with him and his wife. And I was like, well, I haven't talked to my husband about it, but we should all have a conversation about it.
right.
Oh, okay. He's not in town because, Flea's on the
I'm on
road.
the road. I do what I do.
And I established that first time.
Mm-hmm.
Another time comes up, does the same thing.
Right.
Ask for me to come over, knowing
With the
you're out of town.
right.
Hit me up in my inbox, ask me to come over, hang out with him and his wife. I already know what the agenda is, but I'm like, but we still haven't had our
Conversation with the four of us.
introductions,
Right.
right? Because we knew of him, but they had never met or talked, and that's just one of our rules, on our boundaries. And I felt that it was a disrespect because he's also married
Right.
and he's speaking for his wife as well.
Yeah, because she hasn't spoke up yet. She hasn't reached out
No,
to you either.
no,
Right.
and it does. It's kind of like a discomfort. It's like I'm not even. I don't even feel comfortable going over there now. I don't even know what the intentions really are. Like, you know what I'm saying? How hard is it for us to set up a talk or a meet and greet?
Right.
And and
Especially when we
and
got
and probably first time around, I would want it to be all of us, not just me going over there while you're on the road. I don't want to do that.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Not with that type of approach.
Right.
And then you disrespect, you know, the option to ask for consent.
Right.
Like that was the whole part of.
Because if that was me being the outsider coming into a situation like that, when can we meet? We can FaceTime right now. You know what I'm saying? I want to get past that point so that we can build up to the point of we are playing. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? So if you immediately told me that what has to happen, well, when can we set that up?
But the approach was already a big turnoff.
Yeah, that
It
yeah,
wasn't even going to get to that level at that point.
I got you. But I'm just saying, even if I had the right approach and I approached a couple and I was interested in the woman and she told me that, hey, we got to meet with Big Stan, right? I'm just throwing out the name, right? And I'm like, okay, well, when can we do it?
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Because you have to show the tenacity to go through the steps to get the prize. You see what I'm saying? And if that's the step, then you got to make that step. The worst case he can say is what? No.
Now, is it always easy to ask for consent? I'm going to say no. Sometimes I have to play it out in my head a little bit before I have that
Are you saying
conversation.
for a woman to ask you for consent to be with me, or you to ask me for
For
consent?
me to ask you for consent. I have to be dead ass sure that that's what I want to do. Dead ass
but I'm not
sure.
mean about it at all. But you're right. You have to be dead sure if that's what you want to do, because that's going to be my answer. Is that what you want to do? Right? Because when I ask, it's because that's what I want to do. I don't have a problem asking you for consent at all. And I take whatever answer that comes with it, right? And if you ask me to ask consent for another man for his woman, I have not been hesitant at all, because that's how I would want to be approached about you. So I have to play it out as though I want it played to me.
I mean, after a little practice, it doesn't become so hard
No,
with
not
the other people,
right.
with approaching the other people. I'm talking about as far as
Each
you
other.
and I. Yeah, you and I.
I think there's a couple reasons behind that, right? We always in comparison, right? Well, you played the last two times. I only played one time, so I'm owed one more time to be even, right? Not to say that
To
we have
make it
that,
fair.
right? not to make it fair, but not that we really fight on that, but in our defense, sometimes it does come up,
It's
right?
like, do I want this to be one of my shots? Do I want
Well,
to? Do I?
like
Do
you don't want to waste
I
your
Do I?
shots.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your shots.
You have wasted a few where the other party did not.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see it as a numbers game. I see it as opportunity.
And sometimes you don't even have to wait for the question. Like Flea's been like, my wife is feeling you. I just want to let you know right now that it's okay with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm
If you
giving
shoot
you the
your shot,
consent
yeah,
up front, so you don't
yeah.
have to worry about asking on the back end because she's already told me what she wants. You know what I'm saying?
And that's knowing your partner though. But that
Mhm.
also makes it easier for your partner to understand that hey, Flea understands what I want. And sometimes some guys are a little shy to pull the trigger. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I put pressure on them by telling them that, but I do tell them that because I want her to have a good time. That it's
He
okay
wants to
with me.
take that awkwardness off the
Yeah,
table.
take it off the table because a single man coming to a married man could be intimidating. Even though I don't have all these big muscles under here, you know what I'm saying? But it could be very intimidating. Um, but it is a lot harder for us than it is for the acts of anybody else because we figure that's what we're here to do, and that's what you're here, we're here. But it's like, is it okay with you, and is it okay with me to pull that or shoot that shot, right?
Yes.
I'm not shy. I tell you quite often after going around the room, hey, I think I found me a couple of folks I want to shoot my shot, right? I'm not overbearing, I'm not super aggressive, but I do come and tell you to prepare you.
Okay.
To get the consent to do.
Okay.
And then I go through the steps to make it happen.
Okay.
Right? And the same with you. You know? You're not as vocal about it because you're more about the vibe. I'm more about the aesthetics initially. And then I'll catch a vibe. If the vibe ain't there, I ain't shooting my shot. But even though I got consent, you know?
Yeah, he will be really early with his consent sometimes. He'll ask for the opportunity, even sometimes just
to get it out the way.
Yeah.
Seriously, so that I can feel natural about meeting people and then coming back to you if I want to take it to another level. But just the initial consent to be flirtatious, to be me, to be Flea, right? And then it goes from there. I know at the end of the night, me and you gonna
Can you take your consent back?
Can't be no hypocrite now. That's fine. Yeah, at any given time you can veto. If you find something or see something that you don't like of what's taking place,
like, hey, no, I changed my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened. I don't think. I can't recall. But
well, sometimes you give consent for that moment, and then now that moment has stretched beyond into the future, right? So now, does that consent, is that an indefinite consent, or are there still consent that's needed along the way?
We still have consent amongst the way. Let's say I have consent that night, but she wasn't feeling me, right? But we tight on the friendship part, right? But that night just wasn't gonna happen, right? It doesn't mean the next time that we see each other is gonna happen automatically without me consenting. I might say, hey, I want to go talk to Tree. You know what I'm saying? I just look at the trees over there, right? And I'm gonna try to shoot my shot again. And you might say, you know what, go for it. All right? You might do that. So it's every time must have consent. I don't have anybody that I can just go to and don't tell you nothing and then we just go about it. No. I have to
as far as sex.
As far as
what about conversations?
As far as the conversations, I think we've eased up on our boundaries with that. Like you said earlier, you don't tell me who I talk to. I have to talk in moderation, in respect of the time and that I am talking to them, as well as you, right? But every time I talk to somebody, I don't call you, hey, I just talked to such and such. Hey, I just talked
to
such.
It used to be kind of like
yeah,
that.
It was like that.
It used to be.
Yeah. It was, but it wasn't It didn't feel natural, but it was what we had to do, right?
It didn't feel natural. And if trust is broken, then it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think about the one time I gave you consent to have a conversation with somebody that we kind of had put into our past, and I was like, okay, go ahead, check in. And then like 30, 45 days later, I'm thinking, I'm finding out y'all still talking, and now I'm like, well, I gave you consent to check in, but I didn't realize it was going to go back to becoming a habit, you know what I'm saying, of conversation. So, as long as you know what your boundaries are and you
Mm-hmm.
express those boundaries, if you're going to give consent, be sure that's what you're okay with.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm consenting that we end this consent and maybe do a
We
part
definitely
two.
need to do that
Okay.
because we've
Let
been
our let our
rattling.
let our let our wonderful sexy gems talk about this. Give us some feedback, and then we'll come back with a consent part two. How about
Yeah,
that?
because that's key in this
Yeah,
lifestyle.
it's a lot of things that we didn't touch upon on consent. We just hit the surface.
Yeah.
So with that being said, life, lust, and lifestyle with
CNCC.
in the place, and we out of here. Hey.